Hi there guys, welcome back to Dad Plays Stuff and the Comprehensive Guide series. Now, before we start, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe down below and hit that bell button for more notifications of when I post a new video. Now today we're going to tackle the big, the bad, Dominator. This is the final boss in the main story of the game. So, if you don't want to see how to beat him and you don't want the surprise spoiled, I'd suggest you skip this video altogether. Now, Dominator, out of all the colossal immortals that you come up against, probably has some of the biggest variety, if not the biggest variety, in terms of his moves and skill set. Now, his basic attack tends to be laser blasts from the two arm-mounted lasers that you see attached to the front of them. These come in two different forms, where it's like an invisible blast or it's like a big blue beam. The big blue beam that he focuses does a shit ton of damage, so I would heavily recommend not standing in it and avoiding it at all possible circumstances. Now, his most dangerous move, which you've just seen on screen, is his gravity well. Basically, it creates a massive black hole, sucks you into it, and if you touch it, it steals your active weapons. Now, as you can imagine, that's a pretty horrible thing to happen when you're playing through this for the first time, and you have no idea what's going on. However, it's not an end-all situation, as we'll explain in a little moment. Now, throughout the fight, the little gun attachments on the ring that's around his body continually fire at you. These on occasion will actually fly off and start shooting at you as well. So he can be really awkward to fight because you end up trying to aim at his body and getting the little drones basically instead. So aiming for his main body is definitely what I'd recommend. Now, as you'll see throughout the video, he frequently starts spinning his ring around his body, creating like a tornado type effect, and he will charge at you. If this hits you, does a good amount of damage. He spams it quite a lot, so you will see that as one of his primary attacks throughout the fight. Now, his final ability is a massive charged blast. Usually you see it being telegraphed by a kind of see-through green beam pointing towards you, and then a massive, huge energy blast comes from it. Now, the thing about this energy blast is it usually first off emanates from the front of his body, but he then launches a secondary item that can either be floating in the air or rotating around on the ground, which launches up the energy blast or down from wherever it is. This, however, can be destroyed, so if you see it on the ground, take it out as quickly as possible to avoid the damage that it's going to do. Now, the strategy for this fight is simple. While you still have your weapons intact, try and deal as much damage to him as quickly as possible. When he enters his latter stages, his immortal fractal stage, that's when he starts using the big beam attack. So your best thing to do is avoid them with as much dexterity as you can muster. His charged beam attacks are really accurate, so he does a crap load of damage, so use the central pillar to try and avoid a lot of stuff, and the pit at the very bottom. Now, the great thing about the pit is once you've lost your weapons or you run out of ammo, there's a load of canisters that you can pick up. These canisters deal a hell of a lot of damage to Dominator. Toss them at his face as much as possible. You do about 2k, well, 1 to 2k every hit. So if you're incredibly accurate with it, and you've got loads of laser defense, and to be honest, bulking up your defense for this fight in general is a good idea, then you will do well. It's a tough fight, and it's really tough on your first playthrough when you've not got the greatest of gear, the greatest attachments, but if you persevere and toss canisters at his face, you can achieve this fight. Now, Dominator has an online multiplayer fight, and that is Dominator Alpha. If I'm entirely honest, it does not differ from the main fight a great deal. He has all the same abilities, he does all the same stuff, with the exception that now he summons a load of little immortals, which you can take out for ammo, which makes the fight actually easier in a sense. However, There are no canisters at the bottom of the pit. Therefore, it is significantly more important that you dodge his gravity well attack. If you lose all your weapons, you're forced to fist fight him to death. And I'll say this, that is not a fun way to fight Dominator. He does a lot of damage, and you punching him to death is gonna take a while. The other advantage, however, is that you can have obviously three teammates with you. So, having people with a lot of good damage output, it takes the edge off. Dominator can only focus a gravity well at one person at a time, so more often than not, you're not going to be targeted very consistently unless your damage is ridiculous. When it comes to his floating drones, they become a lot easier to take out because you've got so many people firing at once, a lot of explosions, a lot of AoE damage, that kind of thing. So having weapons that have a good fire rate, good amount of ammo and good damage, take out the drones, that reduces damage, avoiding all of his attacks in general. There's also little healing canisters dotted around the map, so if you do take damage you can heal. Whereas in the regular fight, you don't have any healing mechanics. It's pretty much one health bar unless you've got devotion. Which, to be honest, would be a very good thing for this fight and for the initial fight during the story mode. I would definitely recommend devotion. That's probably one of the only times where you're going to hear me say that. Now this is what an endgame build can do to Dominator. I've got my machine gun arms, which you can't steal, and I have my Dominator missiles. Now, I cut it quite close for this fight, so I could probably keep the build a bit better and optimize the damage versus the camo I'm actually using, but I knew I was going to be able to do that because it's so, you can see the major difference. First instance, I'm dealing a lot more damage, and I'm taking a lot less damage, and it just doesn't seem like a good chance to counterattack me quite easily before. He switches between these different pictures and it doesn't get a chance to use the big attacks very often, which is the kind of key reason why he's a lot easier to interact with this point, put a little bit more effort into the build, which I'd probably recommend for a fight actually trying to do, is maybe farm some stuff up. It doesn't make a huge difference in terms of the content that you play online co-op stuff, so doing a little bit of farming beforehand would probably make the actual boss fight a lot easier. But that's the side that we have to do, I suppose.
Choice has been made. The Dominator's response is weakening.
Now the blueprint that you get from Dominator is the HAW-RF00 Rumble Order. It is a blitz weapon, and that says a huge amount about it. Blitz weapons are incredibly, woefully, terribly underpowered in the grand scheme of things, as you will see from the footage. If I'm honest, I would say get the blueprint just so that you can tick it off your list of things you need to get, but you're not gonna really use this weapon. It is lackluster. It looks cool, it definitely has an amazing visual effect, and in idea, in theory, it is a nice thing, but like all blitz weapons, its major flaw is that each of the little blitz drones that fly out from you have HP. They can be targeted and they can be killed. And when they're killed, they don't come back. Then we look at the damage they do. They don't do a lot of damage. It is akin to a fly buzzing at your face. They literally don't do a lot at all. They do have the bonus that you don't need to pay attention to the target that they're flying after, and you don't need to aim them, so they are kind of guaranteed hits. But that's if they can catch the enemy. They tend to a lot just float around and not do anything. So it's definitely not a weapon I'd recommend using. It's more something I would suggest you just get, just for the sake of it. So that was the video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and leave me a comment down below on how you think I'm doing, and if you enjoy these series of videos, if you'd like more, if there's anything particular you'd like. And we'll catch you next time in the next comprehensive and technically last boss guide video.